My forehand is inconsistent and I've forgotten about the basics. So we're gonna go back to the basics with the forehand. And you're gonna fix all of my issues in disc golf, forehand and life today.
Okay.
It's gonna be a long video.
You think your mistakes are basic then?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because
we'll
if we go back to those, maybe I notice what I'm doing wrong or right, or both.
There's no wrong or right. You know that, right?
There's only forehand.
Yeah. I think we should talk about the selection of the disc that you're gonna throw your forehands with.
Yeah, we can go down low here. We can do this.
Let's go low. My main approach disc is a harp. This is a stable one. But if I would take a pure, it would be a lot harder for me to throw the pure with the forehand because I would have to put a lot more spin on it. I can't use as much power, but people love to use their power, especially men. They want to go all in on all the forehand shots. If you want to perfect your shot, you can practice with the understable discs, but rely on the stable discs.
Is this approach shots or just forehand shots in general?
I feel like.
Okay.
In general. Of course, there's no right or wrong way. I feel like we are all unique. The discs that fit me won't necessarily fit everyone else.
Yeah.
So you just have to
buy a lot of Latitude discs.
I can try to throw them both. You know, it's a lot easier because I don't really have to think about my throw with the harp. It's a stable disc, and I can even put some anhyzer on it, and it will still work out.
Yeah.
I can still get a good flight out of it. But with the pure, I can't really throw it with an anhyzer. I just have to throw it with a little bit of hyzer or completely flat in order for it to fly. So I really have to think about my technique and how my body is positioned. So it's a very good disc to sort of perfect your technique.
I'm gonna throw them back to you and to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because I know when I throw the pure, stuff happens. So first the harp.
Show us.
So here comes the wobble. Yeah.
It's tough to throw a clean forehand with the pure. You definitely have to work your wrist rather than the power in your body or in your arm. So it's a very good disc to practice with. And if you can throw a pure clean, you can probably throw any disc in your bag with the forehand. Test it out with the understable discs, but in the competition, I personally rely on more stable discs because, you know, the nerves kick in and it could get tough out there.
We're gonna go deeper now with speed.
It's a lot harder to throw a putter with a forehand than a higher speed disc. It is easier to throw a higher speed because, I mean, the putters, they tend to hold the line that you give them. And quite often we see people throwing massive anhyzers or big hyzers, but that's not necessarily what they want to do.
Yeah.
But with a driver, if you put some big angle on it and it's not super understable, it will fight back and you can still get a very good flight out of it.
Okay. Are we walking and talking?
We are? Okay.
At some point we're gonna...
I don't know.
We're gonna stop
Yeah.
and talk about grip.
Okay. I have 2 grips that I use.
What?
Yes.
For forehand?
Yes.
Not just, oh my God.
With the driver, I typically grip a disc like this. So you sort of make a gun with your fingers
the pew-pew grip.
And then put it here. With the putters and the mid-ranges, I do this fan grip. I feel like it supports the disc way better and I get more control. Let's do the fan grip.
So what would happen then if you were to use that grip on this one and vice versa?
I don't know, I feel like I have way less control but when I'm doing my approach shots, I do need that control. I do need that stability in my hand so I can trust what I'm doing. I can throw the drivers with the fan grip as well, I guess. And I did it for a long time, but then I felt like this is more natural when I'm doing like a more powerful shot and I don't need as much control. I'm just gonna rip it. Because if you're doing this, your finger is sort of alone here and maybe gets hurt.
Emotionally? Let's say I've never thrown a forehand and I come to you crying. What would you say, like, do this then?
I typically tell people to do the gun thing.
The gun thing.
I think another important thing about throwing a good forehand is how you position yourself. Because you can be really good with your arm, but if you're positioned incorrectly, your disc won't fly where you want it to fly. A common mistake that I see is people putting their front foot like this. So the toes are showing like in a random direction, but they're aiming like straight forward. But I can already tell that the disc is going to probably be released early and not going where they want it to go.
So it'll go too much
to
on
the road.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you actually want to do this, that you are pointing your toes in the direction where you want to throw. That will allow to move your hips like to the direction where you want to throw. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't hit the baby again.
Again? So if I would want to throw to that basket over there, I have a verdict. So I want to aim to the left of the basket and hope for the fade and the skip towards the basket. So I want to aim my toes like straight over to that car right there, and then hope this will work out. Because if I would be pointing right to the basket, I don't think I would be near the basket.
Yep.
I can try to throw one.
I'm gonna hit a car and get shot. I have your new signature disc.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at that. Ah, that's too. We're gonna throw max distance in a bit, and I'll throw that one again, and you'll see what the disc can do.
How good it is.
We're gonna talk about something that I haven't thought about a lot with forehand. I just focus on getting less wobble and trying my best.
Yeah, we can talk about aim.
Yes.
How you put on some angles for your forehand shots, because you can put some angle with your wrist or with your arm, but if you're positioned incorrectly with your body, you cannot get the angle you actually want. If you have determined in what direction you want to throw, you point your toes toward that direction. The next thing would be for you to figure out if you want to throw a hyzer, if you want to throw it flat, or you want to throw an anhyzer, and then you can position your body matching that angle. If I would want to throw a hyzer shot, I would have to lean to the right and make sure my wrist is lower than my elbow. This is what gives you the hyzer angle. So if you want to throw flat, you can still lean a little bit to the right and make sure your wrist is like lined up with your elbow. I think the flat throw is the hardest because you always have like a little bit of an angle there. So it's a little bit easier if you have understable disc and you put some hyzer on it and it will flip up to flat. But I guess it's everyone's personal choice. You just have to test out the discs. But I will try my best to do a flat shot. And now if I want to throw an anhyzer, I can be very upright, and then I can also lift my wrist a little bit higher than my elbow. This will give me the anhyzer.
For me, the anhyzer is the easiest one to throw with forehand.
Yeah,
Is that
because
common? Am I normal?
Because you are normal. Like I said, it's like a common mistake that people make.
Yeah.
Maybe rolling over their shots and not getting the flight they want, actually, because it's more natural to be upright and then lift your arm way up here. But quite often people don't want to throw an Anheuser, but they are still very upright and throwing it. So this is like a mistake that people are making. But you can correct it with your with the right position. So once again, you can just lean to the right and then get some other angles as well. One thing that's also important to remember is that when you're trying to put on different angles for your shot, then you should start in a correct position and also follow through in the same position, because quite often we see people who want to throw a hyzer, they start from here, but then when they're releasing the disc, they're already upright and maybe putting on an Anheuser angle. So you just have to be very conscious about it. If you're making this mistake, going onto the field and just going through and following through with the same angle.
We talked about disc selection. We talked about grip.
Yes.
We talked about
speed of the disc.
Speed of the disc. We talked about angles. It all adds up to
Throwing.
How do we do that?
You just have to work from the ground up and practice all the things that we just talked about.
Yeah.
And it is of course crucial to have the right disc. If you want to throw far, it has to be the right stability. Like we talked about it earlier, some people pick up the very overstable and speedy disc, but if they would take maybe a little bit less stable and maybe even a slower disc, they could squeeze a lot more distance out of it.
Do you want to show the thing you said now? All the things you said, not the song.
All the things I said.
That's good. Oh! So I'll do that too. Just gonna get, so yeah, just straight ahead. And I remember everything you taught me now. Like so. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna slowly walk back to... Thank you for watching, and check out the new stuff, the new discs there.
Yeah.